Welcome back to On the Nose, a podcast where we look at how the trading room floor went on the weekend over the two domestic thoroughbred meetings. And once again, I'm joined in studio by Thad Taylor. And if there's anyone who's closer to the action in terms of the trading room floor, I don't know. I don't know who they are.
No, there is no one. There is no one. Keep my eye pretty close on it, Paul, to be fair. And obviously we're doing markets on Saturdays for Trackside Television. So we're watching in real time. So, had a little bit of experience now watching markets for my sins. So, we tend to know what we're sort of looking at and what we're seeing, but always still some surprises out there in the world of thoroughbred racing markets. And it's always something new to watch and some exciting stuff.
Righty-ho, there were two meetings this past Saturday, Ellerslie and Wanganui, and we'll head to the River City first. Race one, it was for the 3-year-olds, and, those famous tangerine colours. They came to the fore again. I Am Nuts, ridden by Craig Grills. That usually spells a wee bit of danger for the bookies.
Yeah, it usually does. It was a nice race to start the day, the 3-year-old race. It had a bit of depth to it, and probably more depth than the pricing team realised, because we opened Wingman and I Am Nuts both quite short in this market. I Am Nuts was our $3 favourite, and Wingman was around $3.40. Now, Wingman's price hardly budged, might have got out to $3.60, $3.80, and I Am Nuts just drifted 3 out to $5.50, which meant that Debbie Harry in particular was a mover. Jade Dragon had support, and Tycoon Boss. That was a nice run as well. That was 6 into 5. Debbie Harry for John Barry was 15 into 5.50, had it to sit outside I Am Nuts. So the money was quite well spread in the first, even though I Am Nuts is a $3 shot out to 5.5. It was a small loss because it's Tiakau and Craig Grills in the first race of the day. And we talk about these stables that tend to have support regardless. Well, obviously Tiakau is one of them. So even though the marketplace didn't like I Am Nuts late, Craig Grills took the initiative and won the race. Small loss, race one.
Race two, it was over the 1,600 metres for the 2-year-olds and up, and whooshka!
Yeah, you've been dying to say that. Whooshka, just hovering around 5.56 all day. It was a small win for the TAB plus 5,000. Pacific Princess and Harry Grace, oh, wow, came right down the outside on the day. You took a beeline for the outside fence almost immediately. And to be fair to Harry,
it was very hard to pick actually on the line.
They never showed us the photo, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I had backed Pacific Princess, they were a mile apart, as Justin Evans quite rightfully said, in different zip codes or area codes, and they really were. So I'm sure obviously Wooshka got it, but it did look like Pacific Princess right down the outside might have bombed it. Didn't happen. That was the move. 330 into 260 minus 30,000. Both horses that finished third and fourth, there was some support, and they both ran well. Soldier Tono's a horse that's often had money on it, and just does a few things wrong. 6 into 5, I think that ran fourth. Vicky's Margot for John Barry, that was a nice run. It was around $7 or $8, but and ran third. But Wooshka got the chocolate, small win because all the money was with Pacific Princess.
Righty-ho, let's head on to race 3, over the mile for the rating 65s. And Craig Grills gets up on a $10 shot, VV.
Yeah, Royden. It was $8.50 out to $10. So there was only 2 horses they really wanted here, Paul. The Liquidator, who started just favourite in the race, was our second favourite on opening. That was $6.50 into $4.50. And Pokawa, 5 into $4.50. It's always a horse that's well backed, Pokawa, so always money on there. And because the money was, both those horses were well backed, it meant that VV was plus 20,000 the third of the day.
Race 4, it's an open handicap over 1,600 metres, and a former Group 1 winner with Lisa Latta. He's a doozy.
Yeah, and he's got fans. He's a doozy because he is a doozy. He's got fans because he's been around for a while and he's done the right thing by his customers for a long while, as well as he's a doozy. So, he was $8.50 out to $11. But he was a small loss, a small win, only a small win, plus 5,000. Kafra, 290 into 245. Rusty Lane was the big mover, 650 into 360, but couldn't go with him in the end. Islington Lass and Kopua were drifters in the marketplace. but they were losers as well. So the horses they like backing, Kevin Myers, Kopua, Islington Lass, Alan Sharrock, the marketplace was willing to take them on, but they were quite well backed because they're horses that have their support. And LJ was just legless. 650 at like $17. So LJ is one of those horses you just have to watch and back when the money goes on. It wasn't there today. So he's a doozy. Small one, 8 out to 11. Good to see him back in the winner's circle.
Race 5, a rating 75 benchmark over 1,350 metres. And Christelle gets Dun Eagle home.
Yeah, led all the way. Yeah, when he gets in one of these moods, Dun Eagle, he can do this, and he did it. Champagne Linda was well backed. Came out of the same race as Pacific Princess, this Basil Warrior race from Trentham. They were just all gravitating towards that form, which meant Champagne Linda was 550 to 370 minus 120,000. Now, I think finished third in the race, didn't it? But yeah, so there was all the money there. There was a little nibble for Stipulator, ran well. Was second in the race, wasn't it? 11 into 850. And Justin Evans made just in case. Bit of a value runner in the race, meant it was a losing result. But because Champagne Linda was minus 120,000, it meant Dun Eagle was plus 35,000.
Race 6, it was a sprint over the 1,200 metres for the rating 65s. And Kelly Myers gets looks like a favourite home here, number 1 Cooper.
Yeah, market move, a hot horse, 250 into 205. Look, there was a bite for Pleasing early, who ran a very good second. I think Pleasing's, if he gets the right race, I just liked its run first up. It got caught down on the inside here and didn't miss the kick as well. I thought it might have had to trail, but trailed nicely. Just got caught down on the inside. There was a nibble for Pleasing, but it drifted back to its opening quote due to the money for Cooper, as did La Dulcinea. That came in, then went out and did the trick, was first up. I think there's a win and did the trick relatively short notice. It boxed on relatively well on Saturday, but there was no money for it in the marketplace. So market mover, only shortener at the off was Cooper, and it duly saluted. Small loss, -5 because of that money for Pleasing and La Dulcinea.
Race 7, it was the Group 3 Manawatu breeders, the fillies and mares, and Tony Pike and Valdezoldo.
Yeah.
An old favourite.
Yeah, an old favourite. You might have, had a little dollar on Valdezoldo. It was an even race, Bull. There are a stack of chances. And that's probably why Al Jumala eased in this market. 260 up to 340 at the jump, but our customers loved it. It was minus 150,000 Al Jumala, but look, traders are willing to take it on to a degree late, but just because of the evenness of the field around it. Valdezoldo was plus 45,000. Good move for Royal Flower, ran a heck of a race. Sort of got trapped 3 wide, sort of because the leader, Al Jumala, let a horse come up underneath it. So he had to race wide, Royal Flower. It was $7.50 to $5. That was the initial move. And Nigella Lane was obviously unlucky, but all the money was Al Jumala minus 150,000, which meant Valdezoldo plus 45,000.
Final race of the day at Wanganui. It's over the 2,050 metres for the rating 75s, and Duncan Creek and Jimmy Chung with the 2 kilo claim gets home at around $19.
Yeah, can't do this too, Duncan Creek. Did he pay that much? No, $19. What are you talking about?
9 to
Did
10.
you say?
$9 and $10.
Right. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've got to clean my ears out. You can't do this, Duncan Creek. He's a good horse on his day. He was plus 25,000. Again, it was a little bit like the Liquidator Pokawa race in the fact that they really singled out 2 runners and just backed them in Fats, who didn't fire. I don't know what happened to Fats. I didn't see the Stipes report around it, but it didn't fire. And Sunset Boulevard was the other one that they did back. Neither obviously. Sunset Boulevard didn't run a bad race. Some interesting money around Invisible Spirit, better known as a steeplechase, hurdler and the like.
Crocker, we're getting that close to the season.
Well, I know. They're out there. They're popping out, Paulie. They are popping out. And that was Dummy Myers, obviously. So, I don't know what's going on with that Invisible Spirit. So, I'll just be keeping tabs on that when it gets to a more suitable race. Plus 25,000 Duncan Creek, though. Which meant, in summation, it's 130 plus 130 at Wanganui. Not huge, but just little chipping away all day there with the likes of Valdezoldo, Dun Eagle, and even VV, the reasonable results there.
Right, Ellerslie, race 1, 1,600 metres, the 2-year-olds and up, and Buster Shaw with Jasmine, forced it at around $17 or $18. And Mark Purdon, a name you would, I guess, be more synonymous with what happened at Cambridge on the Night of Champions just prior.
Yeah, just a touch more synonymous. First winner, first thoroughbred winner.
Congratulations.
Exactly. That's exactly what we say. Congratulations. Fluke, I'm sure, for a guy like Mark Purdon. Yeah, right. There was money for Buster Shaw. I don't know if it was the Mark Purdon factor or what, but 26 into 18 back to 23 was only break even. Was Buster Shaw. Windrush was $1.75 and $1.60. They put the blinkers on and it sort of over-raced, but it was never punted super hard. I mean, there was enough money on it to justify the quote, but only just, if you know what I mean. The worst result in the race was another floozy, which we actually made the TAB Hot Horse because it was 15 into $8.50 and minus 60,000. And the other mover, I called it Nefu.
Nefu.
It's not Nefu, is it? It's nephew. George Simon didn't correct me, but obviously called it correctly in his call.
Nefu.
And I was kicking myself. Yeah, Nefu. Looks like Nefu, doesn't it? Anyway, I won't make any more excuses. Nephew. Was nice up the rail there and was a mover 11 into $8.50 back to $10. Buster Shaw, break even only for Mark Purdon's first ever winner. So plenty were on at the nice big price.
Right, our race 2, and it's for the 2-year-olds over 1,200 metres. And Windstorm at a juicy price too for Holly Wynyard.
You found it? Yeah, you were waiting for that word, yeah. Windstorm, 15 into $7.50. Look, a big 2-year-old race, money spread everywhere, as you sort of imagine. But, of course, it was a losing result of minus 10,000 Windstorm. That was the Tabby Hot Horse as well because, look, the favourites were all a bit iffy. I mean, Steezy was probably the most solid of them all. It ran a nice race for second. It was hovering around its opening quote of $2.80. Pink Gin for the Pike team was quiet. Heloisa, wearing the Cambridge stud colours, was 4 out to 7, put in a big run and was no money. So if you do see a push for Heloisa, who ran a very good race, watch out. So, look, no money or no push for any of those 3 favourites. Gee, there was an interesting runner. Kylie Hoskin. Miss Parker. Now, it was the Go Racing Club colour, so sometimes you can the results can get a little bit skew with because the syndicates
are so large.
Yeah, exactly. They like to back them, and absolutely as they should. But it ran a heck of a race. It was sneaking up the rail. Finished 4th. That was minus 130,000 for Miss Parker out there at $34. Ran a decent race, so mark it down potentially. But yeah, Windstorm won well one and to Holly Wynyard, 15 into $7.50 minus 10.
Race 3, over 2,200 metres, rating 65. And Gillian with Michael McNabb aboard at around $5 odd.
Yeah, winning result. Winning result, even though it was Debbie Sweeney. Sometimes we have our troubles with Debbie and her supporters. The story is really all Rambling Rose, who looked the shot's eye as far as customers were concerned, and they couldn't see much out, couldn't really see past it. 380 into 280 minus 70,000 for Rambling Rose. Apache Ann moved 16 into $10. Probably speed mappers getting involved there, and it did lead relatively comfortably. But Apache Ann was 16 into 10 for what it's worth, and a really, so I won't go as far as calling it strange, interesting move for All Shook Up. For the Ralph team, it hadn't really been doing much and didn't really fire on Saturday either, but it was 26 into $12, so make what you will around the move for All Shook Up. Minus 70,000 for Rambling Rose, didn't salute. Gillian did, plus 20,000.
Race 4, 2,200 metres, open handicap, and Embezzler at around $13. So a good result, surely.
Yeah, it was. But customers didn't look far enough down the page to find the Ross McCarroll train runner in Embezzler and the money was spread here. I mean, Giacomo and Doddle were both well supported favourites in the race, so they had plenty of money on them. A quality time was 16 into 9, got the gun run behind Giacomo, so the move was probably justified, just sort of peaked on its run at the 100. Fly My Way was 8 into $7. There was money there, which meant that Embezzler was 12 out to 16 plus 50. Didn't mind the run of Outback Opal down the outside. Potentially one to mark down. Had a good campaign last sort of season, and That was a more encouraging run, Outback Opal, but Mbesla plus 50,000, race 4.
Race 5. The 3-year-olds over 1,500 metres, and we get a favourite home here, Penman.
Yeah, exactly. And then to add insult to injury, it was a protest. I'll get there. It was a protest, second versus first.
And it got upheld.
Exactly. So we had to pay out on Erin Go Bra for Stephen Marsh. Meant that the result was minus 50,000. And Erin Go Bra had supporters as well, so they knew it was going to run a race. Stephen Marsh had us on toast here, to be fair. He had us right from the Wednesday afternoon. Knew we were in trouble. Penman went from $3.40 to $2.20. Erin Go Bra went from $14 to $7 early, and then just back to $9 on the continued money for Penman.
Just looking, he had a few runners in that race. Did Marshy? Crikey.
He had the trifecta, and then he had a couple more to Sexy on Moa. Bourbon Proof, who didn't really yelp. I don't know what they probably needs to spell Bourbon Proof, but I'm no horse trainer. So, he had us completely shot to bits there. It was minus 50,000 with Erin Go Bra, which there was a move for after its debut or its win there at Pukekohe. Sister Sugar, interesting runner. It was one of Brendan Popplew's maidens of the week in the leg up and came out of that maiden and went straight into the strong 3-year-old race. It was out there at $34. It was minus 130,000, a little bit like Miss Parker.
Mm.
And again, didn't run a bad race up the rail, did Sister Sugar. So another one to potentially put down in the black book because there was good money. If it gets back to a 65, it will be very competitive, one would suggest, because that was a nice, strong field. But Stephen Marsh wasn't just Penman. They added the insult to injury of us having to pay out Erin Go Bra because obviously with fixed odds we pay out first.
2 winners in one race.
2 winners in one race.
Wow.
Who thought of that idea? Stupid.
Race 6, over 1,500 metres for the rating 75s, and Nakoni County at $20+. So you've made some of that money back already, Thad.
Yeah, we have, to be fair. It was one of those very good competitive betting fields where they wanted to be on a few, and one of them wasn't Nakoni County, in fairness. Sarko, Latrell were both well-supported favourites, sort of like your Donald Giacomo race, a little bit the same. So both sitting around that $4 mark. Overdrawn for the Pike team was 12-6. Funny race because the favourites Quinella at the wrong end of the field. Overdrawn was only fair. And Nakoni County won at 16 out to 18. A move for Summerston down the bottom there, 26 into 16, or got to 13 back to 16. Summerston ran a nice race, and no money for Gentian Blue, and there was no money for it first up at Trentham. She's a capable mare, and the run of Gentian Blue caught my eye. If you do see support for Gentian Blue in the near future, I would suggest following because it was a good run, but don't probably know quite what to make of the race because all the favoured runners finished out the back. And it was plus 55,000 with Nakoni County.
Race 7, an open handicap over 1,300 metres, and Sacred Satono at $11.
Yeah,
that's a great price.
Yeah, well, it wasn't 11 on the close with us. It was 11 into $8. So tote punters did very well for themselves. The class. Don't worry about the weight. The class got it home well and truly, which meant because even though he had that top weight, he was only a break-even result because customers still wanted to have a bob each way on him, just on the fact that he stood out in terms of his ratings and all that sort of thing. So he was only break-even. Merchant Queen, 5 into 380. Not for me. Won't get me. And you say Dorsey, 650 into $5. Grand Gallo. You say Dorsey ran well, 650 to $5, and Grand Gallo was they pumped it on again there on the, you know what? The, what do they call him? Grand Gallo?
Big Rooster.
Big Rooster, that's right. Spanish for Big Rooster, yeah. And he flashed, I think, for 3rd or 4th. So they weren't far away, to be fair. Sacred Satono was only break even because he was 11 into $8 fixed odds.
Final race of the day. Rating 65 over 1,500 metres, and Flanagan with Taylor Mitchell aboard. Samantha Logan.
Yeah. Forgotten runner, to be fair. Good win. Very good win. It would have been a tragedy bashed if it had not got up. It had to come across heels at the 200. But again, there was a big, wide open betting race. They wanted to be on a few. Amaya Star was $8.50 into $4 favourite and was about minus 80,000. Astoria Brook was minus 50,000. Just Call Me Johnny was minus 40,000. Washi for the O'Sullivan Scott team was about minus 40,000. Fossey went from 16 into $9. It was a good run. from Fossey. Finished, I think, third in the race, just peaked late. But they backed about everything in that favourite to $10 except Flanagan, who was $6.50 out to 7, and a big result, to be fair, to finish the day, plus 70,000.
A Maya Star, they've backed that a few over the last 2 or 3 starts, haven't they? And unfortunately, just haven't got it done.
No, he's beat. Yeah, exactly. He won so well. Was it on debut, and then a couple of seconds, so they've wanted to be on again. And first look at Ellerslie for a Maya Star. So they often say you sort of want to potentially have a bit of a look. So, it was wasn't to be from Maya Star. I don't know what what to do with it now, but I think it's got ability, but it just didn't fire on Saturday for whatever reason.
Not his day.
Not his day. Exactly. We all have those.
A few more than
me, more than most.
Yeah,
very good.
Right.
Ellerslie, it was approximately just under 200,000 for Ellerslie. The big results for Wanganui County came sort of on the back end of the program there. Wanganui County, Ellerslie, those three, Ellerslie and the last race with obviously Flanagan. They were the 3 big results, roughly about plus 65,000 each of those who were getting, and then we just hovered around that $200,000 mark all day at Ellerslie just because of those 3 big results in particular.
Brilliant. Thanks, Thad.
Yeah.
We've done it again, wrapped it all up.
I think we've wrapped it all up. Yeah, heading into the certainly the shoulder season, but obviously we've got Anzac Day and Easter coming up. There'll still be some good racing to be had, but a little bit more of a low-key day with the championships up and running there at Randwick.
Fantastic. Okay, thanks for tuning in and keeping up with tabs with me and Thad. And check out On the Nose next week.